Terror by the Bay, I'm David. All right. Joe Biden was diagnosed today with having COVID. He had to cancel his stop in Nevada, where he was going to be doing some speeches, Las Vegas, and he is now back, or going back to Delaware, where he will self-isolate and recover from COVID. He's started receiving treatment for it. He's vaxxed and boosted. He's under the best medical care, and this particular strain's not particularly lethal like previous strains have been. More contagious, I believe, but not nearly as lethal. He was reporting having a runny nose and a non-productive cough. So, hey, he and I could have crossed paths. I had a layover in Vegas for a couple of hours last night, or 2 nights ago when John and I were coming home from our trip back east. Okay, so let's take a look at Biden's health with COVID, just to confirm everything's doing well with him as far as health goes. Apparently he told Lester Holt that he would step down if he was ill or if he got sick or something along those lines. I don't know if that's on this article or not, if that was a different one. I need to watch that Lester Holt interview. Against my better judgment, I need to watch that to see what happened. Kim from Intuitive View had a short video that she put up last night or this morning. I think it was last night. And she was just really upset. Kim doesn't get upset like that. I get upset like that, but she doesn't get upset like that. And in this particular video, sorry, had to take a kitty break. In this particular video, she was upset about basically the media gaslighting us. Specifically, how, the media was telling Joe Biden, or Lester Holt was telling Joe Biden, so are you going to take the rhetoric down? Are you going to try and, take the, bring it down a notch? And she's like, who's the one that were calling for the Civil War and saying things were going to be a bloodbath and so on and so forth? It's not been the Democrats who've been raising the temperature. It's the Republicans at every turn. Why is George Stephanopoulos badgering Biden to step down, as opposed to asking him the question, taking the answer? You could challenge it once, but it didn't sound like he was challenging. It sounded like a freaking intervention. And I suspect the Lester Holt one went the same way. And apparently Biden got a little spicy with him, and maybe he needed to be. I saw one clip where he was calling Holt, like, how come you didn't call him out, Trump, on the 28 lies he told? And then there was just silence. He goes, I guess you can't answer that, huh? Basically challenging him to say, come on, tell me that you are under instructions not to discuss that, but you're under instructions to do this. Literally, I'll have to watch it again. I'll be all angry by the time I'm done watching it. But the level of integrity of these interviews is through the floor, which makes me wonder if these guys are being told, your jobs are on the line. Do this and hold them to account, or you're not going to have a job. That's what it smacks of. And Biden's pushing back. And maybe this is one of those things that causes Biden to push back. Maybe this is one of those things that forces him to bring the fairness doctrine back into news media that got torpedoed by the Republicans in the 80s, which gave rise to Rush Limbaugh and all the spawn of right-wing media that came out after that. Maybe they're just going to piss off Biden enough that when he's reelected, he'll be able to start doing stuff about this. And not retribution per se, but understanding that the media has lost their way. And they need guardrails put back up again. It's not Biden that needs the intervention. All right, Biden's health. Let's take a look at Biden's health. How is he going to do with this COVID infection? 6 of coins. He's got to take better care of his health. He's 81 years old. He's got a high-stress job. And, between all the debate prep and the flying around for D-Day and stuff like that, As Axel Foley would say, I'm on vacation. He just needs a break. Take your medication. Try and get as much rest as you can while being the leader of the free world with a live war going on between Russia and Ukraine, and in the middle of a political battle, and just the heart and soul of the United States, the most important election ever. But, get some rest. Crossed with the Ace of Swords. Why are you going to need your rest? Because, well, first off, COVID is a killer of the elderly. Again, Biden's going to have the best treatment. This strain is not nearly as lethal as previous strains. But untreated, at his age, with his job stressors, it could cause him a lot of problems. And there's a lot of fight still left in Joe Biden. Underneath it all is the Ten of Wands. I do think he's just tired. When I've done readings in the past asking about Biden at the end of the election run, this is like the card that comes out. He's just exhausted. And he's going to need to lean more and more on the people around him to do more of the heavy lifting, because he can't do all the heavy lifting. And I'd like to think Biden's learned this lesson, but maybe not. And maybe this illness is going to give him the opportunity to anoint other people to do the heavy lifting, because it's going to have to be that kind of transition. In the past, you got the Two of Cups. Biden's a man of consensus. He likes to hear different ideas, and then he goes with the idea he likes the best. He likes to build teams like that. But here's the thing. When you're building teams, the whole point of building a team is to create leaders. And the only way you can tell if they're leaders is to step back and let them lead. They may make mistakes. They may not do things the way you do them. And sometimes they don't do things the way you do them. It's going to lead to mistakes and painful lessons for them to learn. Or they could do something that's innovative that you never would have thought about. And it really advances something in a way better than you could have come up with yourself. The current situation is the Strength card. Yeah, he just needs to rest, take his medications, gather his strength back up. He's got a big push over the next 3.5 months or so. Overarching energy is the Four of Wands. Yeah, he needs to be out campaigning and doing all that. But the end goal is November 2nd. And is it November 2nd? November 2nd. The end goal is November 2nd. You've got to get to Election Day. You've got to be healthy through Election Day. You've got to be on point for Election Day. You've got people that can help you carry the load. Let them. You build up your strength because you've got to get to this date. The lesson to be learned from all this is the Five of Coins. You cannot neglect your health. You need to take care of yourself. You need to rest. You need to eat well. I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure he eats well. I'm sure he exercises. I'm sure he does everything he can. But the burdens on the President of the United States are immense. And he's not 50. He's 80. You know, the energy levels are just different. He's got to learn to accept that. The outcome is judgment. He has to exercise, like I said, this whole thing's about exercising judgment. Are you listening to your doctor? Are you eating well? Are you training your leaders? Or do you have good choices in leaders? Can these leaders bear the burden so that you can rest to make it to Election Day? To make it to Election Day, you need to take care of yourself. So this bout of COVID is just a little bing going off in his head. Just a little reminder that he needs to take a break. It's not the way you or I would like to, or certainly Biden would like to hear it, but it might be just a little reminder of his mortality and just what he can and cannot do. For this country to progress, it's funny, isn't it? The president has been made more powerful than ever by the Supreme Court. And Biden's whole jam is to decentralize the power of the presidency. He likes to get consensus. He likes to hear different opinions. He's not a dictator. He's a consensus builder. So as the president's office gets more and more power, His whole jam is to spread the power around. But I think one of the other lessons Biden has to learn is sometimes you need to take that power and use it. You would rather make things bipartisan and work together, kumbaya and all that, but that doesn't work with unreasonable people. And I'm afraid you're just going to have to be the adult in the room and make the adult-like decisions, even if you would rather just do it by consensus. Because the decisions will never be made. Okay. What is up with these interviewers and Joe Biden? Between Stephanopoulos and Lester Holt, who I've not seen. What is up with these interviewers? Why are they just absolutely hammering him? Five of Cups. There's disappointment. Honestly, I think Biden is really disappointed with them. I don't think it's them being disappointed in Biden. Biden can't get the job done type of thing. I mean, let's get right down to brass tacks. He had a bad debate. That's what he had. What else about his administration is causing you such consternation? Why is it that you let one candidate just lie and lie and lie like he did the entire time he was the president, and now when he's running, he's just making stuff up, and you don't hold him to account? Why is there a double standard here? Yeah, okay, so I was asking about that, but what I'm getting a read is on Biden, is that, in some way, it's kind of both. I think the powers behind the media are disappointed in Biden, and they're walking away from him. And with the Hierophant being these news groups, these media groups, they don't like what Biden's doing, and they're walking away. I'll come back with how Biden's gonna walk away from these guys with his government decisions. But let's read it from the media first. Okay, so in the past, Biden has been known as a man of integrity. I mean, for Pete's sake, Biden has been the subject of an impeachment investigation by this Republican House. Not a group of sensible ones, but just a bunch of Looney Tunes and nutcases and such for over a year and a half. And they've got nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it. It's like he's a politician. He's been a politician for over 30 years. Menendez just got busted for his gold bars and stuff like that. Tried to throw his wife under the bus. Nice. But, he's a politician. You shouldn't be able to spit without hidden corruption. And they can't find anything on Biden. What does that say about Biden? He's like the only kid in the room who wasn't cheating on the test. You know what I mean? So I think the media is like, Biden's a man of integrity, but everybody's got a price, right? Right? He'll play. And the media is like realizing that Biden's a man of integrity, and apparently it's impeachable integrity, to the point where no matter how much they've tried to, get through to him, because again, Biden's talking about minimum corporate taxes and things like that, which means that the gazillionaires are going to actually have to pay taxes, and they don't like that for some reason. And so they're willing to take their chances on Donald Trump. They're willing to be Dr. Frankenstein, and Trump's going to be their monster. And they think they'll be able to control him. Just like the GOP thought they could control him. Because the media controls the narrative. And so they're going to control the narrative with who they want in there. And Trump's more willing to play the game. But they're willing to basically put in an autocrat in charge of the United States. Overarching energy is the Two of Wands. This is just the beginning. It's almost as if the media groups, the media themselves, they're like forming their own government, their own worldwide their own world order, because they control the information, they control the narrative, they control the masses. Religion used to fit this before. Now it's the media, and they've got plans. They got big plans. And they can't be paying taxes. that gets in the way of their big plans. The lesson to be learned is the Page of Swords. So, they'll just undermine Biden. They'll find insiders to tell them stuff, and they'll just, just hack away at Biden and his campaign. And to me, this is kind of them being blissfully unaware just how dangerous things are. And I say that in almost a sarcastic tone because I think they fully understand the stakes they're playing with, but I don't think they fully understand the danger of it. I mean, if they truly understood the danger of it, paying 15% in taxes is way better than having a dictator in charge. Outcome is the Lover's card. But you know what? Honestly, I think the media is united. The heads of the media are united. It's not good. This is not good. It's a coordinated effort going after Biden. It truly is. It's not the devil card, but it's the devil card intent masked as friends to Biden. But these are friends that can't be trusted. Now, I told you I was going to read this as Biden, too. Biden's disappointed. He can't believe what he's being put through. And he's going to turn his back on the media. And he's going to turn his back on certain beliefs that he's held on to. These beliefs in the past. It's like Biden truly is like one of those guys who's got the Superman beliefs. Truth, justice, and the American way kind of thing. Now, he's not naive like that. I'm not saying he is. But he has an idealized view of how he likes to do things, and the media's role in it. But, again, we've lost the fairness doctrine back in the 80s, and the media has spun out of control. And this is what they've devolved to at this point. And Biden's starting to see it. It's being shoved right in his face. He can't ignore it. And if he's reelected, he's going to have to do something about it because they won't fix themselves. So the overarching energy for Biden is, if I'm reelected, there's big changes I need to make. You can't do small changes. You can't put Band-Aids. Maybe you can forgive individual people, but you cannot let them go. You cannot let the media patrol themselves. They're too immature in this regard, because they'll defame people. There's no check. Here's the thing: with the United States, there's checks and balances. With the media, there isn't, and that they need to have checks and balances put around them, or else they're going to spin out of control. The outcome is going to be the Lover's card. Maybe there'll be a reconciliation between Biden and the media, but not before the guardrails go up. And it will be really interesting. It'll be really interesting 6 months from now, should Biden be reelected, to see how the media treats him. If they're kissing his butt or if they're just vilifying him. I'll be really, really curious to see how that comes out. But he might also be the person that saves the media in the Western nations, in the Western world. Because, give Trump his way. We saw what happened with Fox News when Trump was in charge. It basically became TASS, the propaganda news agency of the old Soviet Union. Do you remember how we used to hear TASS reports on things and they were laughably false? They were just so out there. Well, and we saw it with Fox News too. You could fact check the bejesus out of them and show all sorts of things were false. But just like old Soviets that like listening to TASS, because that's what they're used to, we've got patriots wearing red baseball caps doing everything Fox tells them to. And the one time Fox told them something they didn't want to hear, Arizona called for Biden, all of a sudden they go to OAN and Newsmax to get their heroin, their media heroin. Smack, by the way, if you don't know what I'm doing, smack in the veins here. They're going to go to those ones because that's going to tell them the story. That's going to feed them the drug that they need to make sure their world's happy. Because they weren't prepared for Biden to lose because Fox News and those right-wing news media said there was no chance Biden was going to win. And he did. And their world blew up. And then Fox started losing all sorts of viewers. And so they had to backtrack and start saying the election was stolen in order to console the members of the right. And now it's like all the media is decided that they want Trump to be president. So I wouldn't trust any of the polls at this point because it's the media that runs the polls. Don't trust them. Look how the media is covering Biden. Look how unfair it is. Do you think they're going to honestly report accurately with the polls? Why? How does that doesn't make sense? That makes no sense. It doesn't fit their narrative. They're trying to convince you that Biden's not popular. So get out and vote. And it doesn't matter if Biden's not popular. If you're told everybody hates Biden, go vote anyways. You'll find out they've been lying to you the whole time. And show them that you can't be controlled. That's what we got to do. We shall see. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you on the next video.